shape.
You know what's crazy? I was thinking about this. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to get into shape just to then not be in shape.
That's the whole point of life, though.
Yeah.
People that stay in shape their whole life, like, I mean, did you ever really experience struggle?
You got to live a little.
Because you got to also push yourself to other extremes.
Yeah.
Extreme eating,
yeah,
depression, you know. And once you feel really shitty about yourself, boom.
Get back into it.
Back into shape.
Yeah. I don't want to say I struggled with my weight, but like I did get really heavy at one point. It was right way before I moved here. But kind of like early stages of creating content. I was pretty chunky, bro. And it was, you know, I'm 5'10". I was like close to like 250 pounds. I just looked round and I had like no definition. Like this was all like, you know, like sometimes you go to take a selfie.
Yep.
And then you're like,
it's
oh,
the
shit.
gobbler.
It was
the gobbler
like,
gets in the way.
It was like that,
Yeah.
but like always. And it was just gross. But
yeah,
you know, now we're getting right. We got a trip planned in the summer, a couple of vacations. Feel good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I don't have any trips planned yet, but I probably should do that.
You were just on vacation, so don't.
But if I don't plan the next vacation, then what am I even working for?
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like I got to be financially behind somehow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, one thing you could do is you could join the patreon.com/veteransminimum. We got a lot of soccer, international soccer, a lot of plays, daily plays. Patreon.com/veteransminimum. The best $5 in sports betting will help you pay for this vacation. And we'll start off with this as we have a nice little present.
I wish I knew what team that was.
Come on, bro.
Colombia. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
First of all, this is an iconic jersey color.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is one of those things where it's like world renowned. It was custom. I got it made for me when I was down in Colombia. We'll save it for a Patreon exclusive.
Why didn't you go with your last name?
No, so here's the thing. I didn't make this. Someone made it for me.
Why didn't they go with your last name?
I don't know. I kind of like it. You know, Brazilian soccer players and like a lot of Latin American players, they go by the first name.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
On the back?
Or they go with like single name.
Yeah.
Like the best player on Colombia right now, his name is James Rodriguez. It says James on the back. It's pronounced James, but it's
just
James,
says James. Okay.
So I was wearing this jersey the other day, and this elderly woman at the supermarket was like, "Oh, are you Colombian?" And bro, I was in like the weirdest mood. I was like happy and pissed at the same time. Not upset, but like just pissed off. I was like, nah, but my kids are. I have no kids. But I'm just foreshadowing in the future
that this is going to happen.
Yeah. Plus my last name is Dais, so I get Diaz my whole life.
Yeah.
One of Colombia's best players is Luis Diaz, plays at Liverpool. So like, you know, just foreshadowing the future. The wife is somewhere in either Cartagena or in Bogota right now. Who knows? You never know,
right.
George. You never know.
Dude, I would love to see you out there speaking Spanish. That's the one thing I haven't seen you do. I've seen you do a lot of things. You should do an all Spanish podcast for one of the soccer episodes.
That'd be hilarious and awful at the same time because I don't speak Spanish.
That's a great idea, though.
Yeah.
Just keep that in the back pocket.
Yeah.
Give your daily plays in Spanish.
Bro, that'd be great. I do want to learn Spanish, though. I regret not taking it seriously when I was in high school.
Did anybody?
Yeah. Well, I also, like, I speak and know Greek, like, very fluently.
So then you
so I know a second language, but, like, I don't like Greek girls.
What is it with Greek girls? That
like, you don't like your own kind, bro. No offense to my mom, great girl.
Yeah.
But, like, you know.
You see the flaws.
You see the flaws.
Yeah.
In HD 24/7, 366 on a leap year. So, like, I like Spanish chicks. But enough about that because we'll go off the rails.
Yeah, dude.
Fun episode planned. At the time that we're recording, it's during Game 3 of the NBA Finals, so there won't be no recap about that. And on purpose, I don't want to have it on any other monitors because then we get distracted. Like that one time we had Maddie in here.
Yeah,
shouts to Maddie Betts during the conference finals. It was just hilarious. Yeah, it was hilarious. It was good.
He was just watching the TV like this.
Yeah,
he was like.
I mean, there was one part in the video where I'm talking to you, but I'm looking at this monitor here because the game is on. You can't have that. Yeah, you can't have that. But what we got here is wanted to play a game with George. We wanted to do a little bit of a NFL draft. It's never too early to talk football.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, man. I know you're not a big soccer fan, but I think by proximity to me, you're going to get involved in like all the shit that I'm going to be posting. Major international soccer, I really fuck with because it's during a dead period in the summer, historically, that like nothing is going on. It's like the tail end of the NBA Finals, Stanley Cup Final, and then all you have is like the dog days of summer and baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Copa America and the Euro Cup is going to end July 14th, 15th, around there. And then, bro, 2 weeks, the following week, I should say, they report to training camp.
Yeah.
So like the season is here. And what's really interesting on the drive over here, I was thinking, this is the first international soccer summer we've had in a while because the last World Cup was during the wintertime.
Why is that?
It was because it was played in Qatar. And in Qatar in the summer, it's like 1:30.
Yeah.
So they just moved it for that. So they played it during football season. But this one, it's my favorite kind of summers when you have major international soccer. And then to continue with this point, the last Euro Cup was still during the pandemic and COVID. So a lot of the stadiums in Europe were not filled to capacity. So this is going to be like the first time we have European.
It's every 4 years like the Olympics?
It's every 4 years.
Does it line up with the Olympics?
The Euro Cup does, yes.
Got it.
It lines up. The Summer Olympics lines up with the Euro Cup, and then the Winter Olympics lines up with the World Cup. But yeah, it's just cool to finally have international soccer during the summer to take us through the summer. At the end of this episode, we'll do some Euro Cup betting stuff, and definitely excited for that. But what I wanted to do with this one is we're going to do a draft, an NFL draft. We're picking the best players under 25 years old. And there's a caveat. If George picks a player from the Giants, I can't pick a player from the Giants in any other position on the field.
Right.
And we're going to go back and forth, see who could put together the best team. It's going to be voted on by you guys, what you guys think the best team is. All things veterans minimum or at veterans minimum. And we'll have a conversation about football while we're at it.
Yeah. I love this idea because, I mean, it gets to highlight, the youth, gets us fired up again. I look at this as almost like you can use what we're telling you now, fantasy football, little draft log right here. These are the people that you should be thinking about taking on your team. So
I love it.
Mr. Nick.
You go first.
Thank you for giving it to me first. We'll start with quarterback, yeah?
Okay.
The quarterback that I will be selecting is C.J. Stroud of the Houston Texans. Part of this, too, is because I'm setting up for you not to be able to take Will Anderson on the defensive side. So I want to make sure that we get a Houston Texan off the board. I think he had one of the best rookie seasons that we've seen a quarterback have in a long time. C.J. Stroud, although I did say he was going to have the sophomore slump on the episode like 3 episodes ago, I want him on my team. He just seems like a gamer, dude. And with a guy like C.J. Stroud, I mean, you're getting a guy who threw for 4,100 passing yards, 23 passing touchdowns, and 5 interceptions, which was the best part of his game, as he protected the ball really well. And yeah, I'm going C.J. Stroud. Who you got at quarterback?
I'm going to stay in the same division.
Okay.
Trevor Lawrence is still under 25.
That's tough to believe, dude. I feel like I've been watching Trevor Lawrence for the last 12 years because he was on the high school quarterback camp thing too. So he was on that show. Then he goes to win a lot of national titles at Clemson.
You know what's crazy? I always reference
year
that.
4.
I've never seen someone get a hard-on more than Trent Dilfer at the Elite 11 camp. He's like, "Where's Trevor? Can Trevor throw?" He sounded like Vince McMahon. Can he throw the fade, Trevor? And then Trevor Lawrence is like throwing. And he's Trevor Lawrence in high school at the time, and he's like the unanimous number 1 recruit. He's like, "Oh, no one throws a post like Trevor. Look at that fade right into the garbage can." It's just like, yo, bro, relax, slow down. You didn't need no Blue Chew for that. He was just looking at Trevor Lawrence getting fucking aroused. But
that's hilarious.
Yeah, it jumped out to me because obviously the initial thought is C.J. Stroud, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like, bro, Trevor Lawrence is still under 25. I know it's coming off a year that disappointed a lot of people. And remember, at one point, bro, they were like 8-3. And again, sorry, because we made him the thumbnail. Why is no one respecting the Jaguars? And then they got shellacked by the Niners in Jacksonville. And then they went like 1-7 to close out the year. And I think because of the preseason expectations parlayed with the disappointment, and don't forget, they had that crazy comeback in the playoffs against the Chargers year before. And you're like, oh, this team is building. They took the growing pains of, honestly, it's very similar to CJ Stroud, your pick.
Right.
Overachieved, won a playoff game. Now you're coming into this year. I guarantee you, if CJ Stroud has a shitty year this year, like you're saying, the sophomore slump, probably going to be like, oh, bro, we were having this convo about Trevor.
Yeah.
It's like exactly the same. And look, man, when they selected him first, after 13 weeks last year, he was 5th amongst quarterbacks with an 88.1 overall grade. It's like, that's when shit started to fall apart. And then, you know, just looking at that roster, it's going to sound crazy because he's nowhere near like a top 10 or 20 wide receiver, but Christian Kirk for him is the biggest X factor on that team. It's his guy. It's his Jordy Nelson like Rodgers had. It's his, you know, Edelman to Brady, like Kelsey and Mahomes. Like for Trevor Lawrence, Christian Kirk being out there is just a comfort zone that he has with him. And, you know, Kirk was in and out the lineups, and I think a lot of those struggles had to do with that. Even though they had Calvin Ridley, I think that was important. But yeah, man, with Trevor Lawrence, I think it's interesting that he's just 24 years old and he fits this criteria.
Yeah, and he's just in the perfect situation with one of my favorite coaches in the NFL. Like when you got Doug Peterson to like come into the office every day, there's certain coaches in the NFL that I would honestly like regret. And not regret, but like I would hate to come into work on Monday. Like Robert Salah, like Mike McCarthy. Just doesn't seem like a fun guy. But, you know, you're going in with Doug Peterson. He's going to have maybe some cargo shorts on. That's a nice situation to go into. I like the pick. Crazy that he's only 24. Kind of making me want to take them in futures. Not going to lie, because
bro, I did talk about a couple episodes ago how I know it sounds crazy, but he's 50-1 to win MVP. It just stood out to me. Like I told you my approach. When I look at futures, ladies and gentlemen, what I do is I try my best to come up with numbers in my head, making my own handicap. And I'll say to myself, oh, this guy should be like 20-1. Like Saquon Barkley, perfect example, right? Mm-hmm. And I know I'm talking about Trevor because they both kind of coincide in this comparison. But I'm thinking Saquon is going to this great team, great offense, great offensive line. Well, he should be like 15-20-1. And then he's 40. You're like, whoa, that's a mistake. And I kind of feel the same way about Trevor Lawrence with the Jaguars and him as an MVP candidate. I think it's definitely will be something that I might consider, bro, as like a long shot-ish.
Right.
Yeah, I think he could definitely be in play because you got to think about it. If they're going to have any success,
it's going to hit. Yeah.
And the offense, you know, they spent the first round pick. They took the other kid from LSU. I'm blanking on his name. I think it's Thomas is the other wide receiver. If you could look that up for me, that'd be great. But they lose Ridley. They got Kirk. They got Etienne out the backfield. They addressed some flaws with the offensive line. And I think it was Brian Thomas.
Thomas Jr.
Yeah, from LSU.
Yep.
And I mean, bro, the pedigree of the school, right? Like this dude's going to be a stud because all LSU wide receivers are. So yeah, that was sort of my thought process when I'm doing futures. I like to think of numbers in my head. How off are they? And it's basically how anyone handicaps. So I'm not really going out on a limb. But yeah, I know I went off on a tangent, but just my thought process with Trevor.
No, it was good. And I'm glad you stayed in division. Just goes to show you like what the AFC South has in store for years to come. What do you want next? Running back, receiver?
Your draft, bro. You pick whatever.
So running back.
Defensive lineman if you want.
You know, I'll go defense lineman then.
Good.
Aiden Hutchinson of the Lions.
Yeah.
Dude. I mean,
there
was a point in time last year where, because I was watching so many Lion games, where I'm like, teams are starting to figure out how to throw an extra running back or, you know, slide protections to help out. But it just turns out, dude, he's like of the caliber of TJ Watt, JJ Watt, Micah Parsons, where it doesn't matter who they put in front of him or what schemes they throw at him. He could still make plays. Absolute game wrecker. I think as far as player swag, bro, he's immortalized the lightning strike with the eye black. That's top-notch creativity right there. And he's a Michigan boy going to play for a Detroit team, and I think he will be one of the main reasons the Lions win a Super Bowl this next year. Aiden Hutchinson, 23.
Look, man, 21 sacks in 2 years. Has given the defense and that organization an identity. You got a dude that rushes the passer, hometown boy. You could actually use hometown discount with him because, like,
it's true.
Everything. I'm not saying for him to take a discount. He's definitely going to get paid when the time comes. And then, like, a big comparison to his was TJ Watt coming out. TJ Watt had the monster. He finished like second, I believe, or third in Defensive Player of the Year 3. It's like wide receiver, D ends, year 3 is like, all right, you're going to be an all-pro.
Yeah.
Like, that's the leap that you take.
Mm-hmm.
And then quarterbacks, recently at least, that's the only pushback I'll give on your CJ Stroud take. I don't think he has a second-year slump because, like, Lamar Jackson won MVP in year 2. Mahomes won MVP in year 2. This is actually year 2 of Jordan Love coming up, even though he's been in the league for so long. We're just talking about it as a starter. So, yeah, man, it's something to like really look at and to go even further. Garrett, Parsons, Bosa, and TJ Watt, along with Hutchinson, had 110 total pressures during the regular season. It's only those guys. So he's disrupting, bro. Like sometimes, you know what was really interesting, and it really, and you remember Olivier Vernon?
Yes.
When he signed with the Giants got slandered for giving him like $100 million, right? Because I think the year that the Giants signed him, he had like 7 sacks. And he was like, bro, how are you paying him all this money? He got 7 sacks. He had like 30 more quarterback pressures than number 2.
That's insane.
And that's when I was like, yo, that got to mean something, right? Obviously. All right, I'm not getting the sack, but I'm ruining your comfort in the pocket. I got to make you throw like this.
Yeah.
Right? I'm doing all this extra stuff to you that's disrupting the rhythm of your drop back and you throwing the ball. And then you look at a guy like Hutchinson, like, all right, look, he did have career high in sacks. It is only year 2 last year. He had 11 and a half, but still, like, all the pressures that he had, that
33
also adds up.
Quarterback hits.
Yeah, the hits also too.
I mean, that's
beating the shit out
insane,
of people.
dude.
Yeah,
that's multiple times a game that he's getting to you, even if you get the ball out. That is that's a game wrecker. I'm glad I got him. The Lions, with a lot of great young players, are now off the board.
That's big there.
It is.
That's big because you got, like, let's think about it. You got Sewell.
Yep.
You got Laporta.
Amazing year last year.
Gibbs.
And my favorite receiver.
Your boy. Your best take ever.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
When someone tells you...
See, but here's the thing. He was never able... Like, I knew in my head, he's not going to be able to win an award. Like, he wasn't going to win Offensive Player of the Year. But he meant that much to the team that I was like, dog, great fantasy player.
Yeah. Yo, that was, I think, your best take ever. Because you were saying this way before everyone jumped on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I would also say the Texas Rangers last year.
Yeah.
I've had a couple, Nick.
Yeah, round of applause.
I was here for the Christian McCaffrey MVP, too.
And, dude, we had the guy in the McCaffrey jersey, bro. That would have been perfect. That would have changed the entire trajectory of the show.
We have to get it figured out so that we get, like, our best takes sent to ESPN or, like, sent to Bleacher Report, and they use, like, quotes from the show.
I'm so
We're going to get
pissed.
there. We need PR.
Yeah, we do. Yo, going into UFC, like the Max Holloway call. Bro, was that not a crystal ball? It literally played verbatim. It played out the way I said it was gonna play out.
See, we got to bring back the
and then the
sports
talk
blogs.
the talk of the town thing. That was great also.
All right.
Let's get back
We
to
got
this.
to
My
remove
pick,
our
right?
hands from our
It's
back.
my pick?
Yeah, defense lineman.
No, it doesn't need to be D lineman.
Okay, so now Nick said it's your draft, George, and then
No. It's your pick. So, like, all right, we went quarterback. Okay. So it's like you can go wherever.
Okay.
Linebacker.
Okay.
Patrick Queen.
Fuck you.
Now on the Steelers.
He's so good.
Yo, aren't there some teams you just envision certain players being on? And they're just known for, like, when I think of the Dallas Cowboys, I think offensive linemen, right? Just historically, they've always had a good offensive line. When I think of Ravens, I think of defensive backs. I know we have Ray Lewis, but to me, I think of Ed Reed.
Right.
Also a little biased.
Yeah.
When I think of Steelers, bro, Joey Porter, not Trotter. Who's the other guy? Larry Foote.
Yep.
Just solid, right?
See, I think of great defensive linemen when I think of the Steelers. Mainly just James Harrison. But I get what you're
James
saying.
Harrison is also a linebacker, technically.
Yeah. See, but that's
like
the
those,
thing.
like-
That's the thing that's wrong with the NFL right now. What is it? The difference between an edge rusher and a linebacker? Like, what constitutes you being a linebacker? How many times do you have to drop into coverage?
Lamar Woodley, bro. That's who I was thinking about. Lamar Woodley, Jack Lambert going way back, Jack Ham, right? Like these guys.
Right.
Like just when I think of the Steelers, like even Ryan Shazier, man. Unfortunately for him, he got that terrible accident on that Monday Night Football game against the Bengals. But when I think of linebackers, I think of the Steelers, and they steal Patrick Queen from the Ravens.
Crazy.
One of my favorite things that teams do is when you
in division.
improve your team while weakening a team in your division, and that's exactly what the Steelers did. And he's under 25. He just got paid. Reliable, 3-down linebacker. I think he's great, and I think he's the best pick at linebacker for under 25.
I think he added 3 years onto Mike Tomlin's coaching career.
They extended him.
I'm
Yeah.
glad that did happen, but I'm just saying, like, the will of wanting to do it, because you could get your contract extended, but unless you got good guys around you as a coach, like, work can suck. So the fact that they got Patrick Queen, somebody that he could rely on to be that steady rock in the middle, that's good. That's good. Now that we got the best linebacker in the league, bro, I really do think he's the best linebacker in the league off the board. I'm going to go with Micah Parsons, because he does occasionally drop into coverage and he's listed as a linebacker. I'm going Micah Parsons for my linebacker. And if you got an issue with it, you could hit me in the comments and tell me that I'm an idiot and that he's not a linebacker. And I'll tell you the NFL's stupid as shit, because they need to distinguish the difference and they need to add athlete to the position list. But Micah Parsons, haven't you just loved his CJ Stroud and him going to like Japan and like filming content together?
Yeah. You know they were in here together, right?
Yeah, that the best clip, the clip that really popped it off, when they did they drew plays.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That was in here, yeah.
it's not a coincidence that they're both on my list, because they are.
I see what you did there.
They're studs.
Yeah.
Go check out their show.
As we when we get out of here, I'm gonna give you something from that show.
Oh, they left stickers?
Nah, they left some cool shit here. I mean, it's been here for fucking 6 months now, so like no one wants them. We'll just give them to you. Oops.
Yeah,
Sorry
I
about
mean,
that.
No, I'm a big fan of free things.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you gotta. But I like that. Yeah. I mean, another guy, shocking that he still fits the criteria.
Yeah.
It goes to show you how crazy the impact that young guys can have right away in the league.
It's not a guessing game anymore, especially for edge rushers, dude. I think it's like down to a science where they know that these people are just so much faster than any tackle, and it's really revolutionized the position. Like, you don't see 6'8", 6'9", defensive ends anymore that are like these towers of people. I mean, yeah, they do exist, but you're starting to see a lot more of these 6'3", 6'2" guys that can edge rush and be physical. I think Aaron Donald kind of started the trend on the interior and how he can make that happen. And then they were like, let's just line him up on the outside. So I think the Cowboys, I mean, they lucked out. They definitely lucked out with him. And 13 sacks his first year, 13 and a half his second, 14 sacks this last year. That's a problem.
Listen, man, I've punted a lot of money on him winning Defensive Player of the Year. And there are many times throughout the season where he's like minus to win it. And then either he gets nicked up, he doesn't miss games, but he'll start carrying a hamstring or a quad injury or it's a shoulder, whatever it might be.
Yeah, he won't.
And then his play falls off.
Yeah.
And then he ends up losing it to guys that he ends up losing. But yeah, he's in the mix, bro. He is one hell of a talent, and it's wild that he's still under the age of 25. So Cowboys are off the board.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next. Do I get to choose? You choosing. Go.
I'm going to choose. Let's go with the Rams. Puka.
Damn.
Puka under 25, bro.
I mean, like, who expected that out
Listen,
of that dude last year?
Yeah, we definitely didn't expect that. Man, I might be alone. He was rookie of the year, bro. When you set 2 rookie records, how are you not rookie of the year? And yeah, I'm salty because we gave him out at 30-1. And then he ended up closing as like a plus 300 favorite. You know, CJ got hurt in the middle of that and he missed a couple games. But like, bro, like most catches, most yards ever by a rookie. I mean, like, what are we doing? And this is an award that I'd say is more stat driven historically.
Right.
And yeah, CJ completely overachieved himself personally and the team. But like, he ain't set no rookie records in passing or anything like that. Right. It should have been Puka Nacua should have been the offensive rookie of the year. And I think he's one of the best wide receivers in the league already. Shit, man. You were talking before about Mike Tomlin's career being extended. Shit, I think Cooper Kupp's might be now.
Yeah.
Because you don't got to worry about him being the main guy. You have another guy that can take some attention away from you and still be productive. So I think Puka is one of the best receivers in the league, and he's definitely my pick for the under 25 list that we have.
He's definitely versatile. The whole entertainment factor blows my mind with the NFL. It's like CJ Stroud will eventually win another award. Like, you don't have to worry about quarterbacks stacking awards because the entire league is driven around them winning the awards. If you want to keep the interest going in younger guys like this or help expand their story, like, you know, I know you're a WWE guy. You gotta give the people what they want.
Storyline, brother.
Puka needs to be, I'm the rookie of the year. You know what I mean? We need a little promo cut like that. CJ's gonna get his shit. I mean, he's already doing it with his podcast, which, I mean, like, if he didn't win rookie of the year, but then he had the top podcast in the offseason, hey, you know, that's equally as valuable. I'm gonna go with Chris Olave, the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to go receiver. I don't think there was a more stable asset on the team last year than Chris Olave was, because even Alvin Kamara had his ups and downs, but Chris Olave finished 14th in receptions with 87, and then he had 1,100 receiving yards. So didn't necessarily get as many touchdowns as obviously fantasy owners would have loved, but he was also dealing with a lot of like BS at the quarterback position. So I'm hoping this year I got to buy into Derek Carr, or maybe, you know what, I had somebody tell me Spencer Rattler will start games for the Saints this next year. And I hit me. I realized it. I was like, that is going to happen. This sucks.
That guy was supposed to be like one of the next guys, right? Remember the Spencer Rattler hype?
When you stay in college too long, that's what he is, because it just didn't pan out for him. You gotta, if you're gonna bounce around to multiple colleges, you gotta win national titles. That's gonna be the thing with DJ Ungalele, the dude who went from Clemson to Oregon State last year. Now he's playing at Florida State. That's a sneak pick for national champion.
Dude, who was the guy on Kansas basketball a couple years ago? He was there for like, I think I graduated high school and then I moved to Vegas and he was still on the team.
Damn, bro.
I'm exaggerating, but that dude was there forever. He He was a bald dude. I think he was like light skin. Had a blanking on his name right now.
Like bald, like
no, Perry Ellis. Remember Perry Ellis?
Yes.
Yo, I could be wrong, bro, but I feel like that dude was in college for fucking 9 years. Like he was there for a minute.
Some people just fall in love with it, dude. They watch Blue Mountain State and they're like, "This is fun."
I mean, bro, he was only there for 4 years, right? But it felt like
because when Kansas makes the tournament every year, that's how that
deep
feels.
Runs. Yeah, I could be bugging.
So Saints are off the board. I took Chris Olave.
Okay. Saints off the board. So just for the audience following along, I've used up the Steelers, the Rams, and the Jaguars. Combined, our list are Texans, Lions, Jaguars, Cowboys, Steelers, Rams, Saints. I'm gonna go Justin Jefferson. He's under 25 for a couple more weeks.
Nick, no. You gotta come on, dude. That's too easy of a pick.
Too obvious?
It's too obvious.
Is that like 3 condom picking?
Bro, we discussed it earlier. That's why neither one of us chose Brock Purdy. It's too obvious that we would take a potential MVP candidate at that quarterback position being young, You can't take Justin Jefferson if we agree that we didn't take
It's like one of those, it's consensus. We don't need to
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So let's get a little spicier. Garrett Wilson.
Now, that's very interesting. I mean, you finally get to see him with A-Rod this year.
Well,
not just on Hard Knocks.
That would be the hope. That would be the hope.
Not just on Hard Knocks.
Dude had 1,000 yards last year, and it felt like I never would have guessed, just like watching, that he had 1,000 yards, because it felt like they couldn't get him the ball, and just everything was just like 4 yards, 6 yards. It was just a lot of like check down-ish kind of stuff.
Because they were behind in a lot of games, and the defenses were just like, they were giving him those things. 23
years old. He'll be 24 in July. If you're looking at a player that could potentially have a 1,400-yard, double-digit touchdown season, if Rodgers is healthy with the improvements that they've made to the offense, Mike Williams now there, Breece Hall in the backfield, another guy who was eligible for this, but you can't take him now because
he's off
Jets are off the board.
Jets.
I think Garrett Wilson can be a massive, like, I don't want to say fantasy sleeper because there's none of those anymore. Like everyone kind of has access to the same information.
Yeah.
I think the way I do fantasy is like, all right, I feel strong. I have strong conviction about this player. Let's just go with that. I think he could have a monster year. Year 3 wide receivers, bro. That's the history of the league. The year when you're a stud and you're him, it's year 3 for wide receivers, and he's entering year 3 in the best situation that he'll be in.
Now, I have to ask you, on your list, do you have anybody who just got drafted and is going to be a rookie this next year?
I do not know. I want to see you play first, bro. I really want to see you play because there's been many cases in the past where it's kind of just underwhelming. Now, after 1 year, I have no problem putting you on these lists, like what we did with Jefferson and Chase a couple years ago. And even Justin Herbert after year 1, people are like, yeah, if you could build a franchise with anyone in the league, he might be number 1. So if I see it once, I'm cool with that. But I think for the most part, I need more.
Can I hit you with one? Because I just feel like I know this kid's going to be a hitter. And the Raiders really lucked out on getting Brock Bowers, Georgia's stud tight end. Bro, when you look at SEC competition, you've always heard people say it. SEC football is the closest comp you're going to get to playing in the NFL. Brock Bowers dominated from his freshman year on. And to have like that championship pedigree, I know that the Raiders are going to be able to utilize him right off the rip. And Gardner Minshew loves tight ends because, Gardner Minshew's that rough and tough quarterback guy that, he once broke his hand to continue his college career. Brock Bowers, I would imagine, would have done the same thing had he been in a shittier situation, not winning national titles. they're going to hit it off. The things that OTAs and the reports so far say that he is progressing along nicely and that the Raiders are going to use him a lot. So give me Brock Bowers as my tight end.
Bro, he was so good at Georgia, man. I remember watching him like early on, and you kind of just knew that, damn, like this guy could probably play right away, but he still had to wait until coming in.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true, man. You know, I don't agree with the selection of the Raiders taking him. I feel like the Raiders had more needs than him, but yeah, I think, you know, when they throw the expression, oh, safest player in the draft, like can't bust prospect, I'd be shocked if he's not a productive player. Like, I think if he fails, it's not because of his talent.
No, it's the system around him. But
Right.
I think he is one of those tight ends that spreads the field open and that you can line him up at receiver and run a lot of screens that I think the Raiders are going to have to do this year, which is, you know, get physical players out in open space, but to be able to line them up wide and run fake screens off of that and hit them across the middle, you're looking at a player that can get a lot of good pub and a lot of good targets coming this next season. So, Brock Bowers, Raiders off the list.
Okay. Let me address let's go with the running back position.
Ooh, yeah, I was going to go running back next.
I'm going to go James Cook, bro.
Find the Buffalo savior.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's best friend.
Yo, look, I think the more I look at this Buffalo team, I've already felt this way, but now it's just building and building more. I really like Josh Allen for MVP. I think James Cook is going to have a lot to do with this also, but I think they're going to go run heavy like they did. They became a running team. I think they're going to try to not have Josh Allen run as much, because we've said this in the past, and I think it was another good call of ours that you're not going to run the ball against the Raiders at home. You're not, Josh Allen, that is.
Yeah.
You're not going to go crazy against like the Titans. Nah, man. But when it's the Eagles on Sunday night prime time, or if it's a Monday night game and then come playoff time, must win, like we're unleashing the beast.
Yeah.
And that's what happens, you know? Like I think him and Mahomes in the playoffs have went over their rush total like 12 of the last 13
so
playoff
consistent.
games that they've played. Because it's like, all right, now it's now I'm going to run.
Yeah.
Extra couple yards because this is where it matters. So I think they go two tight end sets with Kincaid and Knox. I think the Coleman, the rookie wide receiver, I mean, talk about personalities. Like this dude could be a mega star. If he's productive, this is the next big star in the NFL because of like his aura and his charisma.
Yep.
But with James Cook, man, look, I think last year he became a top 5 running back in the NFL. And he has the family pedigree with his brother being Dalvin. Still not on the level of his brother because Dalvin was that guy.
He was a dog.
But, man, he came along, 1,100 yards last year, and it took a while for them to actually unleash him. Mm-hmm. And I think he opened up a lot of things for this offense in Buffalo. So I'm going to go with James Cook coming off the board. Bills player.
Yeah, I couldn't be any more happier for the Bills finally figuring that out. I mean, it only took them 3 years to realize that that's not the way that you can win championships. They still haven't done it, but I think if they've bought into it for a whole year, they will find success. I am going to take what people thought last year was going to be the offensive rookie of the year, Bijan Robinson from the Falcons. Now, obviously, just terrible situation last year with Art Smith, and he didn't live up to the hype that a lot of people thought he would have, amounted to. But he's one of those highlight players, Nick, where we are going to be watching those TikToks of him juking people out of their shoes for the next 50 years, and we're going to tell our kids, dude, untouchable. He is up there in a class that I have not seen a running back who can catch the ball right around the 5 to 10 yard mark since Alvin Kamara. I think the comparison between the two of them is rather close because they can do it all. And yeah, bro, this next year with Kirk, I don't know what did they finally say what the penalties were going to be for the Falcons? Because they said they tampered when they got Christian Kirk in free agency.
Cousins, you mean?
Or Kirk Cousins,
Yeah.
my bad.
No, I don't know. I haven't heard anything yet. I don't know if anything came out about that.
Because I'm like, what penalty can they possibly give him that is actually not, or that is, serious and we should be afraid of it?
Nothing has been announced, but it's expected to be.
It's just going to be monetary.
Well,
Draft picks?
It could be a draft pick.
Yeah. It's not like they're going to not be able to make the playoffs.
Whoa, one report
crazy.
says a $30 million dead salary cap penalty.
Whoa.
That would be crazy. Projected punishments are a second round pick in 25, a $300,000 fine for the head coach and GM, and a fourth round pick in 2026. This is potentially, but based on like what happened to Sean Payton, what happened to Bill Belichick and those organizations, and also like Atlanta, this isn't the first time with them. Remember they had the fake crowd noise.
Yeah.
That got mentioned as something. That's not tampering, but that's like, bro, you're pumping in fake crowd noise. Like, what's good with that? So, yeah, interesting to monitor. Definitely want to look at that. All right, let's start. Not rapid fire-ish, but kind of banging out some more of these. So, offensive lineman, I'm gonna go with Linderbaum on the Ravens. He is the center, core of your team. It's left tackle.
I went center too.
Center, yeah.
I went Creed Humphreys. For the Chiefs.
Dude, talk about a guy as a rookie that just came in and like just stud, confirmed.
I mean, it can't get any better than snapping it to the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah, nah, for sure, man. And look,
but you're going center, yes, extremely important position, the rock of the offense.
Yeah, and this guy, 2 seasons into his career, one of the best centers, and both running and blocking. I think pass blocking. It's weird when you have running quarterbacks because I feel like you can't really tell how good an offensive lineman is sometimes.
Yeah.
They just know that, all right, I don't need to block as much because he could get away with it. It was like the Russell Wilson thing. Like Seattle had a terrible offensive line, but they looked decent because of Russ.
Right.
And then it wasn't until Russ stopped running around that then you're like, oh, damn, this offensive line is bad. So, yeah, I think this guy here on the Ravens, Tyler Linderbaum, is my pick there.
And it just looks badass on the back of the jersey. Because I remember at the beginning I told you, I was like, is it Linderbaugh? I didn't know the proper punctuation on that. But I went Creed Humphrey. I mean, to be a immediate asset and win a Super Bowl, I gotta take him. He's a nice young kid out of there. I'm gonna take for DB Patrick Surtain. The Broncos.
Yo, another guy, man, who's still young, bro. Young. Like Parsons, like been such a all-pro caliber player and still under the criteria for this.
So I did realize halfway through this that Micah Parsons just now turned 25, but I'll hit you with Jordan Davis.
Okay.
Of the Eagles.
But yo, under 25.
Yeah, when they're like, because you say under 25, you're like, shit. But this is their 25 year.
Yeah.
So they're not 26 yet.
Right. You're still 25, yeah.
That's off the list.
Yeah.
But Patrick Surtain. I feel like I got a lot of players on very shitty teams.
I mean, bro, did you just read what my last 2 picks are and you're saying that? Because the next 2 are shit. The players are not, but the teams are. One of them is my team. I'm going to go Thibodeau.
I'm proud of you for going with one of your players.
Yo, 11.5 sacks last year. He played very well. For a guy that was drafted top 10, and he was the 5th overall pick, and he came into the league with a lot of, I don't know if heat is appropriate, but this was a guy that said, yo, I want to play in New York because I want to build my personal brand, which I kind of fuck with. Like, I'd rather you be like, yo, man, I'm trying to make as much money as possible. And he said that Michael Strahan is one of his idols. And especially in New York media, because I believe he was on the Michael K show, they cut out the rest of the interview where he said, I know Strahan even told me I need to be productive on the field for all these other opportunities to blossom. But that always gets left out because of clickbait and shit like that. However, he had 11.5 sacks last year after an underwhelming rookie season. And again, the year 3 leap for a guy as a pass rusher, it's a real thing. And I think that he's one of the 4 players, I think probably only 4 players on the team that I'd be like, yo, let's try to build around.
Yeah.
And now you got to remember he got Brian Burns with him.
Which is
So
huge.
it's, yeah.
Because you can put the two of them on one side and you can cause some havoc.
Or you can't double because
Yeah.
that's going to free up everyone else. So I got Thibodeau there.
And then hit me with your last one because I jumped. I hit you with
Christian Gonzalez on the Pats.
Wow.
Yo, first of all, you know where he's from?
Colombia. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, Colombia?
Yeah.
I was about to say Venezuela. It's right there. It's right there. Dale, senor. Mira. Bing, bang, boom.
Let's go, man.
Colombia.
Christian Gonzalez, man. Yo, he was playing very well. Matched up against Tyreek in that one game. I don't want to say shut him down, but I think he kept him to under 100 yards. And then he got hurt.
Yeah.
And then people forget about him. But, like, bro came in right away, man. First round pick. And he played very well. And the way that defense is built, you need a stud corner on that defense. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with him this year with the new head coach and new organization, philosophy, I should say, with the Pats. So, yeah, man, Christian Gonzalez, I think he's a hell of a player. And just because he got hurt doesn't mean that he's not a good player. And I think that he's going to make noise.
Yeah. To me, it's always kind of like a positive when you get injured in that first NFL season because you kind of get to soak in what the process is without like the pressures of going week to week and having to be that guy and prepared. Like being able to study what the patterns and rhythms are and being able to watch more film without knowing like, fuck, I'm about to go into battle in the next 5 days. It takes a lot of the weight off his shoulder, and I'm pretty sure the Patriots are up there. Are the Patriots like the LSU of like DBs in the NFL, like where the Patriots just birth really good corners?
Yeah, it could be, man. Could be. Remember, J.C. Jackson was like this all-pro, and then he left New England, and the Chargers paid him big money, and they needed a corner, and he just didn't pan out. And then he went back there. Like they've had a couple guys.
Gilmore, Butler, McCourty.
Butler also. Well, McCourty stayed throughout, but Butler was another one too, man. Like after he left and went to Tennessee, it just didn't work out. But yeah, it's just you're right. Actually, the more I think about it, they've always had
There's just stout defense.
Yeah,
but
in the secondary. So.
This was good, dude. I think my team. So you want me to run through my team?
Yeah, run through your team, and then I'll do mine.
I got at quarterback C.J. Stroud, receiver Chris Olave, tight end Brock Bowers, running back Bijan Robinson, offensive lineman Creed Humphrey, defensive lineman Aiden Hutchinson, linebacker Micah Parsons. He's 25. But leave me a comment telling me I'm an idiot. And then DB Patrick Surtain.
And my team, Trevor Lawrence, James Cook, Puka Nacua, Garrett Wilson, would have been Justin Jefferson, but we said that's obvious. Tyler Lindenbaum from the Ravens, the center. Thibodeau from the Giants, Patrick Queen, and Christian Gonzalez. Let us know what team you think is better. And let's throw it to Patreon, take a break, and we'll be back with some more Veterans Minimum. All right, before we get into some Euro Cup plays, be on the lookout for all the Euro Cup stuff on the Patreon, patreon.com/Veterans Minimum. Everything you see on the YouTube channel right now, youtube.com/Veterans Minimum, is the Patreon. We have a $1, $5, $10, $20, and a $40 tier. And a lot of the support for this show, Veterans Minimum, comes from Patreon, patreon.com/Veterans Minimum. Big shout outs to the paid members of the Patreon. We got Christopher Velasquez. We got Abel Rezin. We got Daniel Gibson, Mahul Patel, Ben Kotzian, Derek Platees, Dylan Chadwick, Jerry Shapiro, Jordan Riley, Mike Stevens, Mike Wozniak, Nick Crummich, and Thomas Robinson. Thank you all for your contributions to the Patreon. Now, let's get into some Euro Cup before the show ends. Everyone knows, if you listen to the beginning of the show, love international soccer, love having international soccer summers. You guys also know that I'm kind of a stubborn SOB. I don't really follow anyone's plays. I don't really like to talk to anyone about plays. But when it comes to soccer, I'm super hyped to have this dude on. We've been friends for about a year now. I think this is the first time we've ever really spoke outside of DMing on Instagram. but my dude, Chris Hammer, High Limit Hammer on Instagram. Honestly, one of the best sports bettors out there right now and one of the best soccer sports bettors. I'm excited to have you on the show, bro.
Man, I appreciate that. I appreciate the intro. Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm real excited too. When we got soccer tournaments in the summer, we're gonna be glued to the tube, and hopefully we can make some money on this run.
Yo, some of the bets that you place are out of control. I would love for you to tell the people where they could follow you right now. Let's get that out the way. Let's get all the things that you work on because you're kind of all over the place, which I like because that's how I am too.
Yeah, man. I'm all over the place, like you said. But I really started focus on marketing and doing like a Patreon group, like what you're doing. So I've got some links in my bio if you're more interested in picks and stuff like that. I don't like to promote it too heavily. People that really know that I'm focused on winning bets. And as you know, over the last year or so, I like to bet quite a bit and quite often. So I'm focused on that. But yeah, all the links are in my bio, and I appreciate the shout out on that.
Oh fuck yeah, bro! Some of these, especially with soccer, man. There's not many people that do soccer like that, and soccer is one of my favorite things to bet on. I feel like I get a good edge on certain markets and certain things, and you're talking to someone that back-to-back World Cups we've hit on the winner. France at plus 900, Argentina at plus 900. Also wasn't on Italy at the Euro Cup. No one saw that one coming down and Italy winning that. But there's a couple of things I want to discuss with you about the Euro Cup. Give me a team that you're high on. And it doesn't need to be the team that you think is going to win, but maybe they make a run to the quarters. Maybe they make a run to the semis that you would want to spotlight.
Man, this is an easy one, and you might agree on this, but you cannot count out Portugal whatsoever. First of all, they're undefeated in their last, I think, 13 matches, something like that. And Ronaldo has scored in every single match. So their team chemistry is like on one right now. So they are definitely, and they're also in an easy group. So they're going to advance without a problem at all. So I definitely would highlight Portugal as not only a dark horse, but they're definitely going to make a run and they're going to turn some heads. And I feel like people always count out Portugal, but they're always in it. But I don't think they're going to win it.
Their favorite, I feel you on that, bro. I mean, the talent is crazy, especially offensively. They have a cakewalk at least to the quarters because they play the best third place team in the brackets. It's a really weird setup that the Euro Cup has because only 8 teams get knocked out in the group stages, and Portugal's going to play the best third place team of the bunch. But they'll probably, and even in the quarterfinals, if you do like the brackets that I like to do, they'll probably play the Netherlands or Austria if they advance. It's like, Netherlands I think could get some love too. I think they're a team that's super solid. I'm not overly high on them, but I do have a couple futures with the Netherlands if I think their ceiling is to win it, but I also could see them getting bounced after knockouts. But yeah, with Portugal, bro, they're going to be favorites, big favorites in all 3 games. Plus 220 that they get 9 points, meaning that they win all 3 of their games is a prop that I really liked. And the last Cristiano Ronaldo tournament, I think you might be onto something, bro.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely going to turn up again. And as old as he is, that guy is probably biologically still in his 20s. So he's not slowing down anytime soon.
I wanted to mention, everyone knows about my love affair for England. So I'll hold off on them until we get to the end when we give out who we think is going to win. But for me, bro, one of the teams that I'm looking at that I think can make noise, and this isn't a team that's going to they're not going to win. They might not make the semis, but I think it's a team that I think they have some potential, bro. And, one thing I wanted to mention with you, and I wonder how you feel about this. If you like a team to advance out the group, you should also maybe take a stab on them to win the group. I made this terrible mistake, bro. During the World Cup, I was high on Morocco and Japan advancing. And they were like plus 300, plus 400 just to advance out the group. And then they end up winning their groups at 15-1 Morocco and at 8-1 Japan. Remember, Japan was in the Spain and Germany group. And it's like, bro, do you feel like you make those mistakes sometimes? Like, I feel like I make those mistakes where it's like, yo, I'm so confident this team's going to advance. Why not bet them to win the group too?
I'm not as big on futures as you. I mean, I have a lot of respect for you. You have really good futures tickets that I've seen, and I'm always amazed by those. But I kind of just take it day by day. So, like, for example, the best World Cup I ever had, I had Germany winning it at plus 800, and this is a while back. But I also did ride them, like max bet them the entire way, and they were more or less, not really favorites, but they had a strong team. That's my home country, and I'm not high on them at all anymore. So I think they're going to be kind of more of a dud. And they've just been disappointing at all. Just overall, they just have been very disappointing, just top to bottom. So I'm not too big on Germany, even though that's my home country.
Yo, the thing with them, I feel you, right? But don't you think they've kind of gotten some momentum last couple weeks and months? Like around this time last year, bro, I was off Germany. Like they weren't, I was like, they're hosting it. But now also their path, I think their path is really interesting because, it's interesting in the sense of there's a team that got bounced in back-to-back World Cups, but they play the group B. They play Group B, which might be like a Spain, Croatia, Italy. So like they're gonna have a tougher path to get to potentially winning it, but they're also at home. And like, bro, I love backing German teams when they play in Germany, like Champions League and whatnot. So I could kind of feel the same way about them, like as a nation. They're a weird team though, bro, because like they press and possess, but then I also feel like sometimes they struggle to score, if that makes sense. I'm not a fan of that. Like, bro, you know what team drives me the most crazy, bro? And it segues into the team that I'm low on, Spain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I never liked Spain, and for many reasons. They're just too like flashy and dancy. I don't
Bro,
know. They try to do too much with the ball.
1,080 passes, one shot on goal. Like that's Spain. And it's like, bro, what are you doing? Like you really want to walk the ball into the net? Because that's how they play. And they're very, of all the teams that are considered favorites, like the top 6 favorites, they're in the group of death. I still would say that I favor them to advance, and they are favored to advance out the group. But like they might be the most frustrating team in this tournament for me from a perspective of they should potentially win it, but it's going to be like frustrating shit every time they play.
Yeah, another frustrating team I would say would probably be Italy. You always have high hopes for Italy, and they always let you down one way or another. They're normally pretty good defensively, but talk about struggling to score. That might be a good team to ride along the way with unders. So um, I could see a lot of their games being pretty boring.
Bro, you ain't kidding. And what's interesting is the last Euro Cup, they didn't struggle to score. It was such a breath of fresh air to watch them like win 3-0, win like, and even the games where they would score 2 goals, they're actually generating chances. It was a completely different Italy team that like we grew up with. And then even if you look at this Italy team, I want to show them some love because they are the defending champs, but only 5 starters from from the Euro Cup team that won it are on this roster that played in that final. And a lot of turnover, bro. Verratti, Jorginho, Bonucci, and Chiellini, all down the spine of the team, all are not on the roster. So I think it might be LGs for the Azzurri.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to fare too terribly well, but they'll be competitive.
Yeah, competitive for sure. I mean, like they just have maybe they lock in come Euro Cup, but I just don't think that they can make too much noise. I want to ask you a question about France. How do you feel about France?
Man, France, I love France. So you probably won't like to hear this, but I would say they're at the pinnacle. They always rise to the occasion in any competition. So you can never count them out. And I think with Mbappe and just top to bottom, I mean, defensively, offensively, they're just as sound as it gets. I mean, that would be my, kind of a hint, but that's who I would probably go with because I don't really like picking. I think England's the overall favorite, but they're not close. They're not far behind. So
Yeah, England is the favorite. I'm all in on England. What could possibly go wrong? That's exactly what I'm thinking with this one. But dude, I was talking about it before, and just like everyone that knows me as a soccer fan, France is the one team that, like, if there was no betting, it'd be the team I would always root for, right? Like, I just have a soft spot for France. Thierry Henry is my favorite soccer player. I bet them at the 2018 World Cup. And they're just a team that I always like. They always have like really good players and world-class players. They got 18 players coming back from the World Cup final team a couple years ago. They're a team that I would be very careful with. So I like when it's a big favorite, like a minus 500 favorite. I like taking the goal line. They're a team that they kind of cruise. They'll do just enough to win like 1-0, 2-1. And then come knockout stages, that's where they turn it on, 3-0s, 4-1s, and shit like that. So I would just be careful with France in group stages. Like they might win 1-0 and they might look awful, and then people will be like, "Oh, what's happening with France?" And then before you know it, they play like a Italy in the quarters and they win 4-0. You're like, "Oh yeah, this is France."
I would agree with that. I mean, if people are going to try to ride that train, so I would agree with that for sure. I think they might not cover some goal lines and stuff like that. So that's pretty accurate on your end. So they can be a team you want to be careful of.
I want you to give me a guy that's going to win the Golden Boot. Who do you got as a top goal scorer in the tournament?
Interesting enough, I would say I don't know how to pronounce his name. The guy from Belgium, I think he would be
Lukaku?
definitely Lukaku. Yeah, I
Bro, that's
think
who I
he's got a
got.
good
I
chance.
have him on my list, and I haven't sent you nothing. So I'm hyped that you mentioned this. I think we do a collab play, and we get Lukaku on there. Because one thing, I love that you mentioned him. They have a really easy group where he could maybe score 4 or 5 goals. He takes penalties
Mm-hmm.
for them, which is something I always look at Golden Ball winners. Like if you look at the last World Cup, Mbappe and Messi finished 1-2. They take all the penalties for their team also. So Lukaku takes pens. He's playing really well for the national team right now. And I just think that they're definitely going to play 5 games because they have the easy group and then they play one of the best third place teams. So chances are you're going to get
Mm-hmm.
5 games out of them. So Lukaku, I see him anywhere at 14-1 to 20-1. We're going to have to talk after this because I think we got to collab on this one, bro, because he's mine. He's my pick.
Yeah, we could make a collab ticket for sure. And then I would say as a backup, maybe Mbappe. You know, he's good for a lot of goals, of course.
Well, the backup that I'm taking is actually the favorite. It's Harry Kane, and I got an
Okay,
interesting parlay here. Harry Kane Golden Boot, England to win the Euro, 18-1.
it's not too bad.
If you think
It's
about
not bad at all.
he takes penalties for them, even though he missed a penalty at the World Cup. Um, he's coming off a monster year at Bayern. Scoring goals for him has never been an issue. But I think if the team that you think can go far, like you would probably have a guy on France also as like a back, like Mbappe, right? I know we're not going out on a limb. He's one of the favorites, but that's my thinking. Like, yo, how many
Right.
games can you possibly play?
And he's good. He's good for 2 or 3. You know, he might have a hat trick in a game. You don't know. He catches fire and he just finds the back of the net easily. So I mean, yeah, he's not exactly a long shot, but you know, he'll be a backup. I think we agree on that
I
for
mean, bro,
sure.
the last Euro Cup, I think it was a dude, Sheck. He scored like 5 goals in the group stages, and that was enough for him to win it. Like one guy catches fire in the group stages, and then chances are if they're scoring that many goals, they advance. So they get that other game in the knockouts. Like I like to think when I do golden boot, you got to play at least 5 games because I think with 5 games, score a goal a game is ideally what you would like. You're at 5. That's a pretty safe number. You'll be in the discussion, and then if you play any additional games, you'll probably be able to get there. But those are the ones, man. I'm hyped that you mentioned Lukaku, bro, because I'm on Lukaku. I'm on Kane, and then of course anyone that's been following my social media the last couple months know we got it's coming home, baby. I think it's coming home. Hammer, I think it's coming home, bro. England. I know they're the favorite. Like I said before, what can possibly go wrong? Every dude that I've met, so shout out to Justin Bell. He does the Formula One show here at the Win for us. And I told him, because he's like, yo, I'm leaving for London this week. I was like, yo, I bet on the motherland. He goes, mate, you just donated. I was like, bro, everybody I talk to from the UK, they always tell me that I made a terrible mistake. How do you feel about England? And then give me your pick.
England, I never like betting on favorites, so man, I would never. It's just like the NBA Finals. I'm not taking. We're on the same side for that with our futures, but yeah, I never like taking pre-tournament favorites because it typically doesn't work out. But I like England, and they're very deep and they can score. But I don't know. I just have a feeling that France is just a little bit better, and I think if they were to play head to head, they're just slightly better. They're a little bit more athletic, which I like too. I would say France is.
Yeah, it's so if both teams finish first in the group, which they're favored to, they would play in the semis. And I could easily see that game be the winner of this wins the Euro Cup, or this should have been the final kind of headline as you're going into it. But yo, look, you can also, it's a crazy bet, bro. And I think one of the reasons why it's 30-1 is because you would need one of them two to finish second, because that would be the only way that they would play in the final. But France, England to be the final is 22-1. And again, you would need England to maybe sleepwalk through the group, come in second, or the Netherlands, who's a dark horse heading into this tournament for some people. They're in the France group. But the more you look at it, France beat them 4-0 and 2-1 in qualifiers. So like, I can't see that being something. But like, yo, 22-1, you get the two favorites to be the final. You would only need one of them to not finish first.
I don't see that happening. I mean, I feel like I'm not big on the Netherlands. I like the league. Independently, I do bet on a lot of Netherlands totals, and I follow that religiously. But the Netherlands as a country in these different tournaments, I mean, they can score goals, but man, they give up goals like none other. Every single game. That might be a good over team. I mean, they can put it in the back of the net, but they also will give up, 2-3 goals to anybody. So I just don't like that style of play when it's competitive, and these tournaments are normally more defensive and lower scoring, which doesn't fit their style of play too well.
Yeah, man. I agree with you with that. It's just, again, with the Netherlands, like they have so much talent and world-class players. Can they just put it all together? Because they've always been the team that can maybe get it done, but then they just crash out in the knockout stages. But dude, I'm going to get you to come back on later during the Euro Cup, and then we could do some Copa America too. But it's good chatting with you, bro. I guess good meeting you.
Yeah, for sure.
now that we had this conversation, I'm gonna have everything in the bio for people to get in touch with you. So as far as I go, at Nick Dais 10 is where you can find me. All things Veterans Minimum or at Veterans Minimum. And check out the Patreon, man. I'm putting out an episode every single day during Euro Cup and Copa America. Most of it is going to be brief, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, just giving you my picks and my thoughts on the games. But patreon.com/Veterans Minimum. Shout out to everyone that joined the show today, and we'll catch you guys next time.
In his element, I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course, be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be